Hi, morning everyone. Just doing the same sort of thing again today to get into this routine. Told myself I'm just going to be in here until I've drunk my coffee. Well, coffee cups are empty and I'm still in here, so that's progress. I have done a quick daub. Wasn't doing anything serious, but somebody did message me and sort of say like, oh, really appreciate it if you could sort of have a bit of a talk through your materials. And why I choose the materials that I do. So I thought, while I'm waiting for this daub to dry, I will give you a quick whiz through. This is by no means going to be a comprehensive video of all the stuff that I would use, but it's a starting point for you. Right, so here we go. Obviously, most important of all is paper. Now, obviously you can use watercolour paper. This is a Seawhite 220 GSM cartridge paper, with obviously being cartridge, it's got a lovely smooth surface. And even if I choose sort of heavyweight watercolour paper, I still like the hot pressed. I like that smooth surface. I do try with the cardi paper, I do try with a rough surface, and I know you can get different textures and different effects with it, but because of the way I like to work, I find that I prefer this smooth cartridge or hot pressed paper. And I have to say, this from Seawhite does take quite a lot of punishment, because I do use quite a lot of ink and fluid, water, etc. I also like to use, as you know, these Seawhite of Brighton concertina sketchbooks. This is the little pocket size one that comes with its own little, well, they all, as far as I'm aware, come with a little carry case. And again, it's quite, these are quite nice. I'm not sure how successful this is going to be. Yet to find a position to have the camera where you can see what I'm doing over my shoulder. But it's like each page is like there's two sides to it. So it, again, it takes quite a lot of punishment. And you can work on both sides. I mean, I will do. Obviously, I haven't got very far with this one. Next up are brushes. I like to have, again, variety, but sort of quite a large moppy head one. Again, I think that's a number 12. I do like my dagger brush. Not quite sure what you'd call it in America or Australia, but a dagger brush. It gets to a nice sharp point and you can swish it through. I have got other flat sized brushes to make different marks with, going right up to, well, I've got actually a decorative brush over there, sponge on a stick. So I do like to have a variety of sizes of brushes, because obviously depending on what sort of size paper you're using, but sometimes using a large brush on small sheets of paper gets sort of more, I don't know, sometimes the marks, they're different when they're really highlighted and more dynamic sometimes. Then again, I like to have a selection of tools to make other marks with. This is a bamboo pen or pencil. I've got a smaller one, decorating or whatever it is thing. But you can use it on its edge, use it on its flat surface, make lots of nice marks with. Old store card, again, you can do it, make different marks with it, again, just on the edge or flat or this way, get a nice straight edge if you want. I mean, other store cards are available. Feathers picked up, just dipped in ink or drawn through the watercolour. And, any old thing, like, I think that's an old, the coffee stirrer, isn't it, that you get in the cafes these days. Again, there'll be a variety of pencils of all hardness. Sometimes you just like ones to draw through, pull through, make faint marks, and then again, the softer pencils for making different marks. I would have a selection of watercolour pencils. Again, you can drag this on dry or through the watercolour or the ink, and again you get different effects, quite like that, sort of unpredictable marks. Then we move on to the inks. These are the Rowney acrylic inks, and sepia and the Payne's grey. Have to say they are all-time favourites, absolutely all-time favourites. I just love those colour palettes. If I swing around very quickly, obviously I've got a whole trolley full there of different, you know, what's that? Yellow, oh, it says ochre, yellow ochre. I've got some different, had a marigold ink in there from somewhere else. I'll put it in the down below when I remember. Obviously some Liquitex inks that I have found. This is the raw umber one. Got some different coloured ones. So yeah, so there's a variety of inks. Spin back round, apologies. I also use this is Winsor and Newton, the granulation medium that you can drop into the inks and the watercolours, and depending on the particular ink or watercolour and the way that the pigment is bound together, dropping this in will push the pigment, sort of I don't know, scatter it, I don't know, push them away from each other, so you get sort of a mottledy or a different effect. I'm suddenly aware of how often I'm saying you do have to experiment with the inks and the watercolours. Not all of the ink or the watercolours will granulate the same. The sepia I find does beautifully. Payne's grey not always so successful. You know, this I find is, sometimes it's just how much water you put in. But yeah, it's something else to have a, you know, play with. You either like it or you don't. You know, each to their own. Oil pastel, white oil pastel. I do like putting this down first randomly, and then obviously when you overlay it with the water or the ink or the watercolour, that will repel it. So, you know, you do get sort of random marks. So I do like that. Usually it is just the white. And then we're moving on to watercolours. I have to say, Daniel Smith, you know, I would say try and get the best quality that you can. I know when you're starting out, you know, sometimes you think, oh, that's really expensive and am I just going to waste it? But it is a case of a bit with the paper, you know, try and get the best quality that you can, because poor materials, you end up with poor results, and then that sort of makes you a bit downhearted. So I do sort of advocate trying to get the best quality that you can. I have to say the Daniel Smith, I like. Yeah, this tube lasts quite a long while, and it is really sort of rich in colour. These are new for me. This was Jackman's Make Their Own Pigments. Met the chap last year at Patchin's Arts Festival, and again, you know, you have to try the different brands to see which ones you really like, and I do like some of these colours. I got this Maya Blue, and this is sort of developed, see, I haven't really used it all, from plants from a gentleman that we met while we were up in Dumfries and Galloway. Sort of recently started with these ones, these Mission, what they called, gold class Mijello, that's it. I can't think, like, Mijello. The Davies grey I particularly like. They've got a yellow grey, and again I'm just sort of working my way, picking colours through them. So I quite enjoy using them. Again, you know, really sort of different colours. They react slightly differently. But again, it's a case of, you know, sometimes I'll put an order in and I'll just try a different colour, and sometimes you like it and sometimes you don't. But some of it is, you know, a lot of experimentation. So I'll end up with, I mean, you know, I can show you there, lots of different watercolours, but you always have your favourites. Then I'll use this art Graf. I've just got the black. They look a bit like a tailor's chalk, but it is like pigment that you can use either wet or dry, on its edge, flat. Again, makes lots of different marks. I'm gonna get wet sticky finger. Sort of use these ancient drawing materials from Wallace, Seymour Fine Art. I've got various, I think, come in several different colours. This is the indigo chunk. Again, you can use that dry or wet to create different marks, different depths of the colour, give some interesting effects. And I've got some soft pastels here. I've sort of been using the pink when I was doing the sort of coastal ones to sort of give the impression of the sea thrift, but I also quite like this sort of yellow ochre one. that, again, when we was in Cornwall, that's just the colour of the lichen and that on the rocks. So that just adds some little highlights. And then also, last but not least, over here is some art graphite powder. And sometimes I lay that down first just to give an under sort of tone, or to do away with the white paper. So yeah, we've got some tape. I've yet to find, that's not, I usually use clean edge tape from Jackson's, run out of that, so that's why I'm using the old parcel tape at the moment. I've yet to find, you know, clean edge is quite good, the tape, but I wouldn't say it is absolutely foolproof for not pulling off the surface of the paper. You still have to go quite steady with it. If I find one that is absolutely foolproof, obviously I will let you know. I've also got, because I often get asked about this, this little, my little set of letters. This was literally, it's from the range here in the UK. I'm not quite sure what sort of shop it would be equivalent to in the States or Australia. It sells a bit of everything, really. And I think when I bought this, they were about £5. This was £5 with the ink pad. As you can see, not that expensive, and you know, you still get quite a good effect with it. So yeah, and then wouldn't be anywhere without my coffee cup. So there we go. Let me just see if I can stop. So there, that's a quick trawl through the materials that I prefer to use. Move a bit further away, that was far too close. Yeah, as I say, a quick trawl through the materials that I like using. As I say, it won't be by any stretch of the imagination sort of a comprehensive, that's the only materials I ever use, because as artists we're always experimenting, trying to move forward, aren't we? So that's where we are with the materials at the moment. So if I turn you around again, sorry, I'm going to have to stop this and then turn you around. I do use quite a lot of kitchen paper. The smooth variety is better because then you don't get sort of these pattern marks. Although, you know, if you're looking for patterns or textures, sometimes, you know, this is okay. But yeah, I do use a lot of that for, I don't know, wiping brushes on, dabbing paint off, whatever. Anyway, so just turn around. This was the quick daubs that I'd done this morning, just with the Payne's Grey and the sepia and a little dash of sort of the underlay of the white oil pastel. I've then obviously, you know, used this to move it around with, drawn pencil marks through it. It's just to get me going in the studio back again. It's this one, I quite like all the white space around it, and even this one here as a mark, I just like it. I mean, obviously I've moved the paper while it is still wet, so it's run and we've created this cauliflowery type effect, but I'm not one of these people who despair about cauliflowers or worry about them. I quite like them, so hey ho, you know, that's the way it goes. And then that one, something about there that's not totally my favourite. These two here, no, don't like them, but it's just a start. It's just playing, and what happens is I'll wait until they're dry. I'll take the tape off. I might put a sort of a highlight of this, one of those soft pastels over the top, just to see. It's just all about playing and experimenting and just getting myself back into my creativity. So that's been helpful, useful. Not sure if all these brands are available in the States or Australia, New Zealand, wherever. I'm sure most of them would be. You know, they're fairly, I mean, obviously Daniel Smith will be available in the States. I think the Mijello ones will be as well. So, and I'm sure, you know, not sure about these small little ones, you know, because obviously this is from a gentleman and he just makes the little batches at a time. So probably not. But the papers and everything, I'm sure you'll have the equivalent sort of, not quite sure what you call cartridge paper in the US, or I don't know, it's just like smooth paper. But yeah, there we go. That's a little trawl through the materials that I mainly use. So I hope you found that. I hope you found that useful. If not, just DM me and ask me. If you see me in a video using something and you don't know what it is, just DM me and I'll let you know. Bye. Well, that was a cheesy grin, wasn't it?